So the other day I was playing my most recent addiction that has completely crippled my productivity and listening to an Onigiri stream. And I couldn't help but notice she was having a lot more fun making something on stream than I currently was, being absolutely violated by this web swimming bastard and a wannabe furry. Which made me think it would be fairly fun to see if I could make something in the time of a fairly average stream. Say around 8 hours. And since Onigiri gave me this idea, I figured it would be fitting to make something themed around her. Fortunately, there are a ton of kitchen utensils I can make, and I'm sure that I can fit the Oni motif in somewhere. Now, I don't know too much about Oni lore, other than they're generally considered Japanese versions of ogres, have red or blue skin, horns, and carry around a giant crude version of a club called the Kanabo. Now, I'm not going to make anything out of red or blue skin because that sounds horrific, and my days of making anything horny are long past. So that just leaves the club. Now, I could just grab a random piece of wood, which have just become rather abundant recently, smack some broadened studs into it and call it a meat tenderizer, but that's pretty boring, so instead I will be making a 3-foot long BBQ Spatula club. That's right, I'm going to be making a crude flipping bonk stick. I started this project off on the right track by forgetting to start the recording for the first part. Twice. So I will just quickly do a rundown of it. I start by making the bonky part by using this cheap set of chisels and a small plane to turn one of these posts that I found from a square to a hexagon, before drilling a hole in one end with this auger bit. Now next is where I make a bit of an oopsie. You see, I grabbed this and applied a coat of it, assuming it was wood stain, because for some reason that's what I remember it being. Turns out it's not, it's wood stain and varnish. Now why this is so bad is because this varnish takes 24 hours to dry, and needs 2 to 3 coats. This is a bit of an issue because 72 hours is a lot longer than 8. So I'm just going to pretend that didn't happen and continue on. Now when it's nice and dry, I drill it full of holes and bang in some copper upholstery tacks, and it's done. And this is what it looks like. Okay, next step. Next step is making the flippy part, which is fairly simple. All I have to do is cut out the design from a copper sheet and then braze it to a copper rod. I start out by drilling out as much material as I possibly can, until my drill bit snaps. Which is fine, they're all drill bits anyway. Next I try a jeweler's saw. Now, I have very little experience with these, and it turns out there is a fair bit of skill behind it, and if you don't have said skill, you're going to snap the blade. Often. Which is a bit of a problem, because every time I snap the blade, I have to re-thread it through one of the drill holes and then attach it. Which is very finicky. So I decide to use another method instead, which is using a Dremel with a burr bit. I've known a few people who were absolute surgeons with a Dremel, and man, did they make this look a lot easier than it is, because, my god, I feel like a 3-year-old trying to stay within the lines of a colouring book with this thing. Luckily, this is meant to be crude, so not being exact isn't that big of an issue. Unluckily, just as I finished this, we were hit by a massive troll of a cyclone and I lost power for almost a week. Now, I was bored out of my mind during this, so I couldn't help but do some filing and sanding and, well, a few other things that I obviously could not record. Now when my power came back on, I brazed the scrapey part to the rod. Despite the fact that no one will ever use this for its intended purpose, I splurged and bought some food-safe brazing rods just in case, even though they were more expensive. Now the brazing caused some discoloration, so I have to clean that up before the next step. I decided to also give it a quick polish just to give it the best chance to patina evenly in the future. After that, it's time to wrap the shaft/handle in a piece of leather I stitched together from scraps I had laying around during the blackout. Now, I've never tried to wrap anything before, so I didn't know that using wax thread wasn't exactly the best idea, because all of the wax buildup makes it really hard to see how well you're doing. And it turns out, I was not doing well. By the end of the stitching, it wasn't looking very promising, so I figured, well, if it already looks bad, a bit of fire won't make it look any worse. Then, I guess, it made it look a bit better. I'm still not exactly happy with it though. After that, all that's left to do is hammer on the handle, and it's done.